This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hello, I'm Mimi. I'm a professional digital artist, and today I have 5 tips to share with you for being more focused and productive as an artist, because we always seem to have more ideas than time, and it's hard to know what to focus on and how to productively work our way through those projects. And I feel like doing some pencil sketches today, so while we chat, I'm going to fill this sketchbook page with drawings inspired by my recent trip to Italy. It's useful to have a few tricks up your sleeve to encourage focus, because I find that if I'm not focused on one thing at a time, then I end up wasting loads of time jumping between different ideas and never actually focus on one thing long enough to get anywhere with it. And I'm not talking about hyper-productivity in this video or hustling or how to optimize every minute. I'm just talking about focus and productivity of generally getting the things done that we want to do. Because sometimes we want to do something but still don't get around to it. So, you're an artist, I'm an artist, how do we get things done? Firstly, we need to wrangle all of our ideas and organize them. We have lots of things that we want to make and we don't really want to say no to any of them, but we can be more focused and productive without putting any of those ideas in the bin by just prioritizing which ones to work on first and which ones to work on later. Understanding what you're going to work on first and why takes all of those exciting projects floating around in your head and puts them in a neat and orderly queue so that you can work on them one at a time. Think about what's most important to you right now of your art. What are the outcomes that you'd love to achieve this year? If you're working on your art career, it might be building a portfolio of strong art pieces to show off, or illustrating a picture book. Or if you're an artist just for fun, then it might be learning a new skill or making new art to hang in your home. Now, write down all of the projects and ideas that you have down on a piece of paper to get them out of your head so that they won't keep distracting you. Then you can see if any of the projects that you want to do fit the outcomes that you want to achieve. Which of the projects that you wrote down best fit with what you'd like to achieve this year? Put those projects at the top of the list. What projects would you like to have completed soon but can wait a little while? Put those next in the queue. And which projects do you think would be fun to do but don't really have any special or important outcomes? Put those at the bottom of the list. They're still in the queue, so they're not in the bin, but they're just not as important as the others right now. Now you should have a reasonably orderly queue of fun projects that you can focus on one at a time, or maybe a couple at a time. That doesn't mean that you can't do anything else, but this is what you'll put most of your energy into because they best serve your goals. And you can do that with less distraction from other tiny ideas because they have a place on the list as well, and they'll get their turn later. So the first tip for being focused is to get clear on your priorities. Then once you've chosen your most important projects to spend your time on and you're ready to sit down and work on them, how do you actually stay focused on the task and avoid getting distracted? Sometimes even if we want to create something, we can still procrastinate and put it off and not be focused, because in general it's just easier for us to not do things. And I don't know about you, but my brain can be lazy. So it's helpful to remove as many distractions as you can from your environment and set it up as a space that makes you feel clear and focused. Put your phone in another room if you can, put some music on, collect some inspiration for the art project you're working on, and try to just make your space as inviting and distraction-free as you can. Whatever you can do to help your brain think more about the art you're making and less about other things that are distractions. Personally, I really like listening to music or a podcast and looking at inspiration for the project to help kickstart my creativity and really get me in the groove. It also helps a lot to remove any hurdles in your environment that add extra steps to getting started, so try to minimize how much energy it takes you to get set up to work on your art projects. If you have to look around the house for your iPad charger every time you sit down to draw, then if you're already low on energy, sometimes that's all it takes to give up and do something easier like watching TV instead. So the second tip for being focused is to design your environment. Now with your space set up to help you be productive, you can properly get stuck into your creative projects and ideally find your flow state where you're in the zone, time passes easily, you're not distracted, and you're just enjoying what you're doing. Finding your flow state might come easier on some days than others, so think about what circumstances help you feel like you're in the zone so that you can try to replicate that. Because once you're in your flow, it's easier to stay in it, but getting started can be hard. When did you last feel like you were totally in the zone and in your element? What helped you stay in that state, or what helped you get into it? See if you can recreate that routine or environment to help you get in the zone again. And once you're in your flow state, you want to try and stay in it, which is why removing as many distractions from your environment as you can will help your productivity. Ali Abdaal talks about this in his class on Skillshare, who are the sponsor of today's video, so if you'd like to dive deeper into productivity, then I can really recommend watching his class. Skillshare is an online learning community with loads of fantastic classes for creative people like us on topics like productivity, but also illustration and building a creative career. Ali's class is called Productivity Masterclass, Principles and Tools to Boost Your Productivity. I've watched the whole thing and it covers lots of great topics that help us be more productive, including dealing with motivation, why multitasking isn't helpful, and the power of productive procrastination. He ends every topic with some questions you can answer to help make it more actionable and applicable to your own situation. I also have 2 of my own classes on Skillshare that help you plan your creative business and find long-term success, so you can also watch those if you're looking to turn your art into a small business. You can watch all of these classes on Skillshare today for free because the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. It can be a bit overwhelming knowing what to watch with your free trial, so here are some extra classes that I think are really great to help you get started. So with that extra help from Skillshare, you'll be better equipped to find your flow, which is the 3rd tip for being focused. Now, naturally some days are just a little more distracted than others, so on days where you need a little extra help being productive, try breaking down your day into some smaller chunks of time with little breaks in between. I like the Pomodoro method, which is working for 25 minutes focused on one task, then taking a 5-minute break. You do this a few times and then you take a longer break. For me, it's effective because during those 25 minutes, whenever a thought pops into my head that isn't related to what I'm doing, that is something that I want to action, I know that I'll have a 5-minute break soon and I can convince myself to revisit that thought after the 25 focused minutes are up. It's usually something like I've suddenly remembered to message someone back or post to my Instagram stories, or some micro task that normally I would go and do straight away, but with a timer and set breaks, I can stay focused on one task at a time. I normally use this method until I'm in the zone and then turn off the timer because once I'm in a flow state, I don't want to be disrupted every 25 minutes, but when I'm not in the flow and just really easily distracted because I want to procrastinate, then it's really useful. It's tempting to think that we should finish what we started in the same session, especially for small projects, but just doing 25 minutes or an hour on something is better progress than doing nothing. Take it step by step and set a timer if you need some help focusing on each task. So the 4th tip is to break it down into manageable chunks. And if there's a task that you're struggling with because it's less fun or just extra challenging, see if you can find a way to make it more rewarding. Add an element of fun to help you get through it, like using new art supplies or putting on a movie in the background, or add a reward for yourself like, once I finish an hour of this difficult task, I'm gonna go for a picnic in the park, or whatever motivates you. There might be parts of a project that are a bit dull, or parts of running an art business that are important but boring, so it's okay to add a little reward for yourself for doing the difficult bits. We feel motivated to do things that we enjoy, so sometimes it helps to add a little bit of extra fun into something, even if it makes it less efficient or productive, because it might be better to get something done than nothing and have a good time doing it. When I have to do my finances, I make myself a nice drink and a little snack and put on some music to make it more enjoyable. When I have some difficult or tedious illustrating to do, I put on an audiobook for the same reason. So the 5th tip is to make it rewarding. And sometimes if you've tried a few things to get into the flow of creating and it's just not working, you might not be feeling it today, and that's okay too. When you're making something creative, you can't really just force yourself to do the task with discipline in the same way you might be able to do with other things. So if you kind of just feel like you can't really be bothered, try these tips and see if they work. But if you feel like actually you really don't want to create anything today, no big deal, you can try again tomorrow. Sometimes there are things happening in our lives that make us feel stressed or anxious, and that's distracting for creativity. It's hard to make things when we feel that way. So don't worry if you don't feel your most productive and creative in this chapter of your life. Don't take these tips as a sign that you should be more productive. They're just tools to try if you're in a position to be more productive and just need a little kickstart, that's all. Let us know in the comments if you have any tips for being more focused or productive as an artist, because we'd all love to hear them. And I'm busy working away on a class with everything I've learned about starting a successful art business that I'll be releasing in September. But it's available for pre-order now at a discount if you're watching this before September, or if you're watching this in the future, then it will already be out and you won't have to wait. So see the link in my description for more information if you'd like to join me there. Thanks so much for watching this video. Give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more art business videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.